Welcome, Minecrafters! This video is all about collecting mob heads. The basic mechanics are, we're going to use the Trident of Channeling to charge up creepers. Then we're going to drop the creepers down right where we need them to detonate them and collect mob heads. You can collect mob heads from skeletons and zombies and wither skeletons. Every time you detonate a creeper, and a charge creeper, and it kills another mob, they drop a head. And yes, it does work with wither skeletons. I'll show you how to do that. You can get 100% yield from every wither skeleton that you kill. This one that I'm standing right next to is actually based on a skeleton spawner. But of course, you could use a zombie spawner to do the same thing. Behind me is a skeleton spawner in a small 9x9 room. And the skeletons come out and go down this little glass channel right here that's just to my right. And they drop in 2 blocks away from where the charged creeper is. I'll show you how to build that little collection area down there. Now, this design does use a lot of obsidian. All these designs are going to require about 1.5 stacks of obsidian because you have to cover up the whole area around where the charged creeper is going to blow up so that you don't detonate all the stuff around it. Let's go up and take a look at where the spawner is here. So this is where the little skeleton spawner is. I happen to really like doing these around the skeleton spawner because I like using the skeleton heads when I'm out running around in my world. That way you don't get sniped by the skeletons. Now notice that they're taking damage here. I've got them coming down on top of magma blocks. I found out that I had to have them take a little bit of damage even though a charged creeper is going to blow up right next to them. In this case here, this one here is 5 by 7 tall by 3 blocks wide. And then there's 2 inside there. There's one shaft coming straight down where the charged creeper comes in. And then there's a shaft behind it where the skeletons are hanging out. Let's go around the back here and we'll take a look at where the magma blocks are. Now in this case I used 8 magma blocks to give them enough damage here, and then they just drop in, take a little bit more damage. You could just drop them down far enough. They got to be like below half health to ensure that when you detonate the creeper that they all die. So here we are, we're gonna hit the creeper with a flint and steel here. We're standing in water so we don't take too much damage when he blows up, and then all the skeletons have died in here and dropped their heads. Notice there's no heads in my inventory right now. We're just going to go back in here, and then I'll put a little light down so you can see this. Okay, so I put the light right in the center there. I'm going to have to put a half slab down. They have to be standing on a half slab. And then I put ladders in here to make it so that when the creeper falls in here, he takes very little damage at all. I happen to use a trident that was enchanted with channeling, loyalty, and impaling 4 once. And when the creepers dropped in here, they were dying, even though they were only dropping about 6 or 8 blocks from where the ladders ended. So when you charge a creeper with the channeling enchantment in a thunderstorm, the creepers take a lot of damage. I think they'll go down to about half health. Now when I had the impaling enchantment as well as the channeling enchantment on the trident, then they took a real lot of damage. I mean, they were basically down to almost a one-hit kill. So you don't need to have the ladders run all the way down like I just did, but you know, maybe 9 or 10 blocks above there would probably work okay. Now you can see here how many skulls we got. We got like 2.5 stacks. I was kind of AF away from the keyboard, away from the console for, I don't know, maybe a half an hour. I probably came back and touched it once or twice. So you can see you can get a heck of a lot of heads here in a very short period of time. So now we're going to look at how you store up the charged creepers. Now the great thing is creepers get stuck in seagrass. So I happen to have a little bit of redstone hooked up over here, so I just press this button. It runs straight down to a little piston. I'll show you how to do that later. And it lets this creeper go free. I'm just going to run around this time right now and put the seagrass back in. I'm just going to replace it here. And now that creeper is kind of heading toward us, and if we keep him out of the seagrass, he'll be free. He's coming right after us. So at night in the game, I just kind of go out once in a while. If I see a creeper, I have him range over, and as soon as he steps into that seagrass, he's stuck. So this guy is going to come over here right now. Hey buddy, wrong pool. Yeah, over here. And we're going to drop him into this pool over here where we've got the trapdoors around it, so he'll think he's stepping on blocks. He steps into this thing right here, he falls in there, and then we just direct him over so that he drops directly down into the little obsidian collection area down by the spawner. So here we've got water source blocks underneath here, right there, and the water will flow 8 blocks across this thing. I made it about 5 blocks wide here. And then over here we got another water source block right underneath here, so he drops into the channel and that pushes him over to where we want him to go. Now I'd recommend that you build up one of these little collection areas here, probably first when you start this build, because thunderstorms don't happen all that often in Minecraft, and you're going to want to collect up a bunch of creepers so that you can use your trident of channeling here to charge them up the first time that you get a thunderstorm in the game. So that's why I put that little chest right there. Makes it really easy. I store my little tridents in there, put some seagrass in there. Fantastic. Now instead of using the redstone, you can also free the creepers from the seagrass just by using some shears, but you got to be kind of quick with that. So you're going to use the shears to collect up the seagrass and bring it over and plant it down, okay, where you want it. That's how you collect up seagrass. And then you could use this, like I said, the shears to release the creepers, but I will also go into a little detail on how to set up the redstone near the end of this video, because I kind of like the redstone. It works out really nice. Now you can also use this specific design as an XP generator. If you don't drop the charged creeper down in here, you can reach inside this thing, you can put down a piece of TNT, and if you detonate it with some flint and steel by hand and the skeletons die, you'll generate XP. You won't get any heads though. You can also get XP by killing them by hand or with your sword, or you can throw some potions of healing at them. So this one is kind of has multiple uses. Now we're going to go off here in just a second and look at two more designs. One of the designs can be used to collect creeper heads, which is really nice. If you happen to have another creeper down in here and you touch off the charge creeper, one creeper will drop a head. So you can get heads from charge creepers or regular creepers if you detonate another charge creeper next to them. So that's how you're going to collect up creeper heads. Alright, let's cruise out now and look at another design. In this design, you do not need a spawner. You just have to dig this hole in the ground, set it up out here like this. Now let's just show you what happens when you want to charge up creepers. I just got my trident of channeling here with some loyalty on it, and I'm just going to nail the creepers. You want it when you hit them though, sometimes they get knocked out. See how that guy just got knocked out of the pool? He got knocked out of the seagrass. So you want to shoot it like this so that when they range, they'll come right back in and go into the seagrass. Okay, so they're all set up right there now. Nice little storage facility. Got our thunderstorm going on right now in Minecraft. Outstanding. Now, when thunderstorms happen in Minecraft, they happen all over the entire overworld. So I happen to be about, I think I was like 2,000 blocks away working on another build, and the thunderstorm happened. I just slapped on my elytra and I cruised over here real quickly so I could set up this little creeper, so I could just charge these creepers that I had sitting here waiting for us. Now one thing that's really nice is this does work in the desert. If you're in a desert, you will not see or hear the thunderstorm, but if you're somewhere else in the overworld and you know there's a thunderstorm going on, you can actually build these. I have built these and set them up in a desert so I could charge creepers in the desert. So if you know there's a thunderstorm going on somewhere in Minecraft, you can still charge creepers in a desert. Okay, so let's go over and let one of these guys go, just like we did before, and we'll bring them over here, drop them into this little hole that we've got. Now this hole is lined out with obsidian, and I have water flowing in here so that the zombies that we've collected up do not burn up during the daytime. Now obviously they wouldn't burn up now, but you see how we got him to fall in there. Now that is exactly the way that I got the zombies in here. I just came out here at night, and whenever I found a zombie, I'd have him follow me over here. He'd drop into the pool. Now I'm going to shut this water off right now. I'll tell you how I did that later. And obviously you don't want to detonate these guys when they're standing in the water, because then none of them will die. So I'm just going to stand over here right next to this, wait for the charged creeper to kind of range in on me. We'll detonate, and we'll collect up some zombie heads. I got the water shut off now, okay? Can't forget to shut the water off or you won't collect up anything. Now this is also the best way to get creeper heads. You just let some of the creepers follow you in here, just like we had the zombies follow us in here. And when the charged creeper detonates, the other creepers will drop heads. So now I just got to replace the trap doors around the edge of this thing, and it'll be ready to go the next time. Now the way I did the water here is I've got dispensers with buckets of water in them at the end of this thing, 8 blocks away. Same thing with the water flowing 8 blocks. Okay, so there's dispensers right down underneath there, okay, and there's water in there. And I just hooked up redstone around the outside of the obsidian so it wouldn't get damaged when the creeper goes off, okay? And that's how we control the water. If they're not standing in the water, then when the sun comes up, the zombies will die. Now the other way that you could do this is you could put a roof on this thing far away, like, you know, like 8 or 9, 10 blocks up above it, and then the zombies wouldn't be exposed by the sun and they wouldn't burn up. But I kind of like the redstone, and that's how we use it to keep these guys well preserved. Now you're really not going to want to put skeletons in here, because if you put a skeleton in here, they'll shoot arrows at you when you run over to have another guy drop in, and then sometimes they'll hit the creeper that's in there, or they'll hit another zombie and they'll start a little battle and thing. So you don't really want to use this to collect up skeleton heads. So I'm just turning the water back on. You see that? That's just dispense the buckets of water that were in those dispensers. And let's go over here and put the seagrass back down. As you saw, that creeper there started to get aggroed and detonate when we got closer than 3 blocks to him. And if you're wearing a mob head, that specific mob will not see you unless you get within about 6 or 8 blocks of him. And therefore, when you're out working on your builds, if you're wearing your creeper head, you're going to be a lot less likely to get blown up by a creeper. Also, if you're wearing a skeleton head and you shoot a skeleton and you kill him, you will get the camouflage achievement. Now I think what I'm going to do now is cruise off into creative and show you how to make that little farm that we were just looking at, because it's kind of a useful one. I'll be right back. Okay, so here we are in creative. We're going to make a hole that is 11 by 8 by 3 deep. Then you come in 2 and down 1 and put in 5 dispensers facing up like this. So you should have 2 spaces below these and 2 spaces to the left. Then you can throw some obsidian down along like this. You need 7 blocks of obsidian away from the dispensers. And I think what I'm going to do now is speed this up so you can see what it looks like after I put the floor down. And now we're going to build up 2 blocks and put a layer across above the dispensers. Fantastic. Now we'll put the redstone in. You want to put the repeaters down every other one here so that they don't crosstalk with each other, okay? And then put your redstone in like this, and that'll make sure that the redstone faces into all the dispensers. Fantastic. Now you could, if you wanted to, just bring it straight up here. You could bring the signal straight up there and put a button over here. But in my design that I used before, I ran it back like this. And of course, I put a repeater down there to make sure that it didn't go more than 16 blocks from wherever I put the button. So we're going to run along over here. Now I'll just build this up so that we can get the redstone to run down from the button to the dispensers. I think what I'm going to do now is throw some obsidian down here, and this will kind of ring it out. Finish it off. Oh, yes, I don't think I'm going to need that obsidian back over there. I think I can show you how to save a little bit of obsidian. Yeah, let's take this out right here. This lower ring here does not need to be obsidian, because the ring above it will protect it out. So we'll just throw some dirt back down in there. Hopefully, if you were doing this in survival, I could save you a little bit there. Okay, fantastic. Now let's just finish off the top of this thing here with the obsidian, and we're looking really good. Let's put a button down here, and then we'll go over and we'll put the buckets of water in the dispensers. So you just open up each one, put a bucket of water in each one. Looks like I gotta load up my inventory here. And there we go. Fantastic. Of course, if when you're in survival, you'll just have to get your 5 buckets of water. Now you don't need to use 5, obviously. You can make this thing 3 wide, save yourself a little bit of material. That'd be fun. Nice and easy. I just happened to pick this size because it was simple. Makes it so that the mobs drop in real easy. Now you're going to want to put a line of obsidian along the back here to protect out all your redstone and everything. Obviously you don't want the water to flow out the back, and you don't want it to detonate when you have the charged creeper go off. So let's just test it out here. There goes the water. Notice how it's flowing. 8 blocks, including the block that's on top of the dispenser. So we'll just throw some obsidian down in here. Now one reason why I really like this design is because you can put it directly aligned with a portal that's in a nether fortress, and you can use it to collect up wither skeletons, creepers, and zombies all in one location. That's pretty nice. Okay, so we'll finish this off here. We're almost done. I think I'm going to put the button right up here. You could put the button down. It'll be a lot easier if you just put the button down underneath, but I kind of like having this block up here. So I'll put a couple of buttons around this thing. And then we got to put the redstone underneath it, leading out of there. So I'll take that one out now, run the redstone right up over here. And of course we need to put a half slab on that so we don't cut the signal off. So let me grab a half slab here out of this inventory. Fantastic. Okay, well that basically wraps it up. I think you kind of get the idea in this thing. We're gonna have to put a hole down over here. You just fill this all in. This is what I did on my other world. In my that one you looked at before, I put lighting down and a lot of other stuff. So if you put the water in here, then the creeper can see you, they can range in on you, and of course you will not take damage when he detonates. But oh, you know, I forgot to put, oh that's great, I got to put obsidian down in there. And oh yeah, it looks like I made it too close to that too. You got to put a block in between here so the water doesn't flow over, of course. Yeah, it's kind of silly. I mean, you don't really have to make this 2 by 2. You could just make it you know, 1, but that's okay. So let me take this out here and I will repair my little redstone damage that I did by letting the water flow down in there. That's pretty quick and easy. Okay, fantastic. But I think you get the idea now of how all this stuff works. We just need to fill it in, make it look kind of nice. So I think what I'll do now is speed the video up and I'll be right back. Okay, well there you have it. Now the only reason we put down those dispensers in the water was just to keep the zombies from burning up during the day. And of course remember that you're going to need to ring this thing out with some trapdoors to make it really easy for the mobs all to drop in. Okay, well let's cruise off to another survival world and we'll look at how to use some of this stuff to collect wither skulls. Well, here we are in the overworld and we're coming up to another portal that is located above a little collection area for wither skeletons. So underneath this portal there is a 3-block high area so that when the wither skeletons come through the portal, they think they're stepping onto the trapdoors just like in the other one. They fall down, they clear underneath this thing, they get pushed over here by the water, and they drop into that hole. Now over here we've got another portal that we're going to use to go through. Okay, I don't want to go into the portal where the wither skeletons are. I want to go into another one. Now notice that this brings me into a portal that is extremely close to the other one in the nether. We have to learn about how to align portals with each other. That's what we're going to figure out here. That's really the key thing to this whole thing. Just got to line these portals. So I'm going to get a little bit of milk here because we're going to go have some wither skeletons chasing after us. And then above this portal, this is the portal directly in front of us that the wither skeletons are going to come into. I put half slabs behind it. Okay, the reason I put the half slabs behind it is so the wither skeletons wouldn't come into that little room in there. So we're going to walk around out here, see if we can find some wither skeletons, and while we're doing that, we're going to talk about how this whole thing works. First, let's talk about what I did is I came up here and I just put a portal down. I just kind of randomly, I stuck it at the end of a walkway up there. It was really simple. And then when it came out, in the overworld, it came out into a reasonably nice place. It was up on the, it was not below the ocean or anything like that. If it did come out in a bad location, just go someplace else in the fortress. Put up another one and see if you can make it so that it comes into a reasonably good place in the overworld. And by reasonably good, I just mean someplace where you can put another portal next to it and where you can also make it so creepers will spawn in nearby so you can bring them over and have them drop into your little collection area, and then when you charge them up you can obviously detonate the wither skeletons. So let's talk about how you align portals, okay, in the nether to the overworld. Now the nether is exactly 1/8 of the overworld. So in the X and the Z, if you take the X location in the nether, multiply it by 8, you will get the exact alignment that you'll need in the overworld for the overworld portals in the X and the Z. The Y will always be 1 to 1. Okay, so when I built up the nether portal, it was at -103 in the X and -293 in the Z. So the overworld portal that aligns with it was at -824 and -2353. When the portal formed in the overworld, it was almost exactly at that location. I just raised it up a few in the Y to make it so it was right at that location. Then I went back to the nether, and I set up another portal that was only about 6 blocks away from the first one. And the coordinates for that one were -101, 66, and -295. So I got the aligned location for that in the overworld, which is the -816 and the -2382. And I just put a portal exactly there in the overworld. Boy, these guys are totally beating me up while I'm trying to do this here. Now, the reason that we're trying to align these portals so accurately is so that we can put them close to each other. We can just, have the skeletons drop into one, and then we can just run over to the other one and go back into the overworld right next to it. You don't necessarily have to do it that way. It just makes it easier to collect up the wither skeletons and, geez, he nails me again, and to get your creepers and everything. Now, this room that's in here, it's got half slabs down on the floor. And the reason I put half slabs on the floor is because I don't want anything spawning in here. So he runs in, 2 blocks up, he runs into the half slabs that are on the top there, and he can't get through that portal on the left. Now the portal on the right over here is the one that we're going to use. Yeah, we certainly don't want to go through the same portal that we're sending the wither skeletons through, otherwise we'll end up collected up with them. Now behind me is a little ladder that just goes up to the roof of the nether. I've got a little transportation system up there. It's just a hallway. I just run around in the roof of the nether. It's the fastest way to travel in Minecraft. So let's cruise back through here, go back to the overworld where we have our little wither skeleton collection area. So you can see over there, that's the portal that the wither skeleton is. Oh, he's still hanging out in there. He'll eventually range and walk off of there. Let's just go up and take a quick look at him. I'll just cut the video out now, and we'll be back when we can get some charged creepers. Welcome back. So I spent a few Minecraft days building out this little castle around the 2 portals that we had earlier. And I happened to be back at my main base when a thunderstorm happened. So I took a potion of speed, zipped up into the nether, ran across the roof, came down through that portal, and now we're going to go off and charge up some creepers. While I was building the castle, these guys showed up, and we're happy to be chased over into this little storage facility here. So we'll just leave those guys there. Now I did build another little simple storage area earlier. Over here, this guy showed up when I first came out here. I didn't have any shears at the time, so I couldn't collect up any seagrass and make that other storage facility, so I just dug a hole and threw this down. Certainly doesn't work as good as the seagrass, but it's functional. And I'm going to shoot the trident of channeling right at him. I might be able to I probably could have just shot the blocks next to him, maybe. He still probably would have got charged. Well, anyway. So yeah, when these portals came in, it was on this really tiny island out here, and I had to build like a little pathway over to the mainland so I'd have more blocks for creepers to spawn on at night while I was over here working on this castle. So let's cruise over there, and right behind this first door is the portal that I use to travel back and forth through, right there. And then down that hallway over there is the portal that we have the wither skeletons coming through. I built this up on top of it. I thought I could maybe shoot the trident down here and maybe charge that creeper down there. Let's see if I can make it fit here between the railing here. Oh, excellent. Oh, I took a little damage. That's kind of interesting. Well, anyway, so now we got a charged creeper in there too. So let's cruise down there. And the way that I made it so that I could get the creeper to detonate and get collect up all the wither skulls. Let me grab some dirt here so I can kind of climb back up out of there when I'm ready to go. Anyway, so I made it a little bit different here. I just put a ladder down on a little hole that leads just outside of where these guys are. And there's some water in there, just like we did before. So we're just going to jump down in here, step into the water, let the creeper detonate, and we'll collect up some wither skulls. Oh, this is totally awesome. We didn't take any damage there because we were standing in the water. Looks like we're going to get 100% yield on every wither skeleton that we found in that fortress. Ah, just out of control. Wow, 10 skulls, yes. Wow, certainly the easiest and highest yielding wither skull farm I've ever built. Man, you know, this is a relatively new survival world for me, and I had just found that fortress up there when I put this thing together, and it looks like I'm going to be able to build a full set of beacons in no time. Fantastic. Okay, well, you know, now I'm going to cruise over to Creative real quick and just do a real brief video on how to put the redstone together for that little creeper storage facility we looked at. I'll be right back. Well, here we are in Creative. This is an incredibly simple build. You can see behind me basically how it works. This thing is 7 blocks across, 5 blocks deep, and there's a little trench down the center here that's 3 blocks wide, where we're going to put a row of pistons in. It's totally modular. Make it as long as you want. So here's a kind of a look at what it is. You can see the pistons there. And we just got those torches over on the side to fire the pistons up. And then we bring some redstone down to shut the pistons off. So let me just quickly throw a piston in here and show you how you would extend this build. Right there. Put a torch over on the right. Fire the piston up. Stick your sand down on top of it. And that's where you're going to put your seagrass later on. We'll talk about that later. And just run some redstone up like this. Piece of cake. Put a block on top of it. And you'll get the signal down through the block when you put your button on top of that. Make sure you put a half slab here so you don't cut the signal off. Okay, and a block right there. There you go. Let's go up, stick the button on top. And that's it. So we'll just test it out here real quick. You can see how it works. And the reason I'm going every other one like this is so that the redstone doesn't cross-communicate. It's really easy to build it so you put all the buttons on one side, but this one is so simple. If you do it like this, it makes it incredibly easy and fast to put it together like this. You could also use sticky pistons if you want and put dirt down in here, but the sand is really simple because it drops nice and easy for us. Okay, one more time we'll do this. Obviously you could stick blocks in there because there's no signal there. And we're going to put the button right up on top of where the redstone is. Throw some blocks in over here. Chuck your half slab back down right there. And you are absolutely in business. Hey, buddy, what do you know? That's cool. We got a creeper checking our little build out here. That's awesome. There you go. You can see how it works. Hey, dude. Checking out the inner workings of your swimming pool, huh? You're right. We're building this just for you and your buddies. Fantastic. Okay, well, like we said before, this is totally modular. Build it as long as you want, as many pistons as you've got, or whatever you need. I'd recommend you build it a lot longer than you think you need, because you're going to want to collect up as many of these guys as you can. So now I think what I'll do is I'll just finish this thing off, show you what it looks like, and I'll show you how to put the water in and the seagrass, and we'll be all set. I'll be right back. Well, here we are, finishing off the build. Now, when I did this in my survival world, I actually did it kind of as an underground build. I went down underneath this thing, put all the redstone in and stuff, so that I wouldn't be getting nailed by phantoms, and I could be working at night and let the creepers spawn in around me, so I could go collect up the creepers as soon as I finished off the build. Anyway, so this is how you wrap it up. Make sure you throw the half slabs in, down, right in front of where all the buttons are and everything. Just like that. Perfect. So now, when you go to get the water, all you really need is 2 buckets. Okay. So you're going to put 1 bucket down like this, and then skip a block, put another bucket down, and then you can pull the block out from between them. It's like a water source block right there. Okay, pull that one right out, and then just drop it in over here, and you'll be able to just keep going around. So you really only need 2 buckets of water to fill this all in. And then you just keep putting it all in here until nothing's flowing like this. Because the seagrass will not be placed unless it's in a source block. So you see we're putting the seagrass down here in the sand, and of course there's source blocks of water here. Now I recommend that you make it so that there are 2 blocks of water all the way around the outside of the seagrass, so that it lets you know where you can walk and the creepers won't detonate. So you can see when you move the piston down and the sand drops, we lose the seagrass and the creeper is then released. Now, once you start collecting up a bunch of mob heads, you're going to find some really cool features of them. They're not just decorative. Let's cruise back to survival, and I'll show you some really awesome features that you can use to trick out your builds. I'll be right back. So here we are back in our little survival world, and the heads are actually like half slabs. So if you had half slabs out here, you could do this, but I think the heads look a little cooler. So notice they hop up on top of the heads there, but they can't come over the wall here because the cobblestone wall is a block and a half tall. So if you put a head on top of a block like I did here, the mob could jump up on top of it just like this. But notice that when I step over on top of the cobblestone wall, it looks like I'm floating out in space. So if you put a half slab down in front of this, a mob cannot jump over it. So I'm actually right in front of me here are half slabs, okay? But I like using the heads, they look cooler. So the heads act kind of like half slabs. Now, this whole thing that I'm standing on here is half slabs, and notice how it's smooth. I'm just walking straight across it. You can walk right across the top of the heads and you don't fall through. Now, what's really awesome too is you can actually shoot through the little hole that the heads are in. So you can use this to protect out your base. You can make a wall out of these things. And you can shoot projectiles right through the wall, or the floor as I'm doing in this case. Anyway, just remember that they act like half slabs. You can't place them down on top of each other. You have to put them on top of a block and then cut the block out from underneath it if you want to do what I did here. Notice when you put the heads on top of a wall, the wall rises up right underneath them. So it makes it look kind of cool. You know, it's just such a simple way to make a mob-proof entrance by throwing the heads down outside of a wall like this or outside of a fence. Or if you just make stairs out of mob heads, the evil mobs cannot climb up. Just don't put a block underneath them. Well, this has been awesome. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. This is Wes. I'm going to cruise out, collect up some creepers, and go phantom hunting.